Sophie here, and today I wanted to talk about main character deaths in books. I won't name any books in this video for obvious reasons. Spoilers! But I have read a few books where the main character dies at the end. The one that prompted this discussion in my mind was very popular, and a lot of people didn't like the ending. Now I know people had other problems with it, apart from the fact that the main character died, but I also saw a lot of people who hadn't read the book, got spoiled for the fact that the main character died, and then decided not to read the book simply because they weren't going to waste their time on that, which is such a strange concept to me, and I want to talk about that. I liked the end of this series. It was meaningful, and in the situation I thought all the characters acted as I would have expected them to. The idea that if a character dies at the end, the story is unimportant is frankly ridiculous, because everyone dies at the end of their life. Obviously main character deaths can be done wrong, as can anything, but to me it isn't an immediate no-no. There are two main types of stories relating to this subject. The first is tragedy, and I was talking to someone recently about what defines a tragedy, and they were saying that in a tragedy, usually, but not always, main character has a goal and they get very close to accomplishing their goal and then they fail. Obviously if you're not expecting a tragedy, this could be extremely disappointing. It is tragic because whatever the main character wanted they don't get, but obviously there are plenty of tragedies that are fantastic stories. The other type of story is one where the main character has a goal and then they succeed in their goal, but during or shortly after succeeding they die. It might be that they have to sacrifice themselves or die in order to complete their goal, or that they complete it and then it's like, yay, we completed, and then sadly they die shortly after. The second one is probably the one people like more, but both can be amazing stories if they're done well. In fact, that fact that the main character dies at the end has nothing to do with how good the story is, and they can both get sidelined simply because of that one fact. I have only read a couple of stories where the main character dies at the end and stays dead. I've also read a few resurrection stories, but that's a different thing, we're not talking about those. So there almost definitely are different ways to go about it that I haven't experienced, different viewpoints that I don't have, because I've only experienced a few types of this story. They're not the easiest story to find, as the fact that the main character dies isn't usually something that's widely known, that's in the blurb of a book or anything like that. It is usually a massive spoiler. The main point I wanted to make in this video is that the fact that the main character dies in a story wouldn't put me off it. It doesn't minimise the message or the achievements of the character. In fact, I often like it when an author is brave enough to step outside the norm and try some different things. Main character death is not a common thing in stories. I don't want to go into a book and know all the possible outcomes. I like it when I'm surprised. The other thing that brought up this discussion in my mind was that I've been studying different types of story structure, things like the hero's journey, and it's kind of made me a bit sad to think that there are only so many types of story that you can do, and I think little things like not knowing whether the protagonist is going to survive makes the story that little bit more interesting. I'm not saying predictable stories are always bad, but it's always nice to not exactly know what you're getting into. Does main character death disappoint you or put you off stories when it happens? If so, why? Let me know in the comments down below, though don't mention any specific books because nobody likes a spoiler. Thank you for watching, and bye!